Let's learn how to make music that sounds like the sounds you hear in films. So the easiest way that I've heard is from the Professor Scott Murphy from the University of Kansas. And he has this idea that you can make most film music using just 2 chords. You don't actually need to know much music theory at all to use this, and it's a very robust and quick way to get generating musical soundtracks. So let's take a look at this. The idea is a few steps. First of all, you need to know what a chord is, a major chord, a minor chord, how to transition between 2 chords. And that's it. That's all you need, which is ridiculous when you think of how many years some people spend trying to come up with composing music, and yet it can be distilled down into this simple idea. So let's take a look at this. So let's learn how to make music using just 2 chords. So first of all, you need to learn what is a major chord. A major chord has the following properties. You have a tone that goes up 4 semitones to get to your major third, and then from there you go up 3 semitones and then your perfect fifth. You do that, you get a major chord. What if you want to make a minor chord? How do you do that? Well, you start off with a 1 again, except in this time, instead of going up 4 semitones, this time we only go up 3 semitones. And then from there, we go 1, 2, 3, 4, and you get to your perfect fifth again. And that's how you get to your minor triad. So a major triad and a minor triad. The only difference between them is just the distances between the third. Now you can do this for any note that you want to start on, any tonic note, any first note. You could start on an F, for example. And you're going to have a perfect fifth in both cases, but the difference between the major and the minor is just going to be whether the middle note, the third, is on the major third or the minor third. So now we know what a major chord is and we know what a minor chord is. What happens if we were to structure them such a way that we end up with a major chord transitioning into a minor chord? Well, this has an interesting flavor to it. It has a sound that we might be able to use if we were using this in a chord progression and leading into something. So what we've done in a lot of films is we've noticed that a lot of films use certain chord combinations quite repetitively. And using this, we've created a list in this video, and you can use these chord combinations that appear in films all the time with a certain association. So now I want to give this a name so that we can refer to this easily. So I'm going to call this a major chord, major with a capital M, and then I'm going to say the distance between the first chord and the second chord has a number. So if I'm going from here to here, in the capital M for major, lowercase m for minor, I'm going to say the distance between the first note, the tonic notes, I'm going to say that distance between them as a number. And in this case, I'm going to say the number of semitones between them. In this case, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'm going to call this a major, 5, minor. Major, 5, minor. Using that, we can then give you a list of different chord combinations, and these have associations to them, which are very convenient because this is a way to use them in film music. So now let's give you some examples of what these look like in film, and you'll be able to take this tool out and start composing straight out the box. So another thing that's worth mentioning is that these chords can be rearranged with inversions. So if I had a chord such as this major chord in G, I can take any note of these three and I can move it up either 8 whole tones higher or 8 whole tones lower, and the chord will still be fundamentally the same. I can take, for example, this G, and instead of playing it in the bottom, I can play it at the top. And I could take this note that's a D and I could move it all the way down here. So this is still a G major chord, but I've completely spread it out throughout the keyboard. And it actually sounds a lot better because the notes are not so scrunched up with amongst each other. So you can take any chord and you can rearrange the notes so that it's an inversion throughout your keyboard just by moving one of the notes higher or lower 8 notes. Now we can let the piano roll do a lot of the work for us when we're trying to find different chord progressions, especially when we're dealing with modes. We don't actually have to worry about thinking this because the piano roll can do all the work for us. So remember, all we need to know is what a major chord and a minor chord is. A major chord is just a 1, a major third, which is 4 semitones, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then a perfect fifth, which is 3 semitones from the major third, 1, 2, 3. If we have that, we always have a major chord, no matter what key we start on. And now, remember what we have in our earlier example, we were using a major 5 minor. So this is exactly 5 semitones in the beginning. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if this is a major 5 semitones minor, we can grab this and we can move to a new key, and the structure will essentially be the same. So this is a way to take your chord progression and explore different modes, explore different keys quite easily, just by using your piano roll to do all the work for you. So this is a useful tool to come up with musical chords for an emotion that you need. Essentially, it's a cheat sheet where you can say, I have this scene and it has a protagonist in it, and I need something happy or something that's likable, and what kind of music would work well with that? Well, I don't know straight off the bat, but I know some chords that are useful to start off with and that I can then expand into a chord progression. And this is a useful way to do that. You can just know that I need this kind of characteristic and I can build upon that. So this is useful. And on this left-hand side is what we've just covered in the video, where essentially I just had the chords and the description. On the right-hand side over here is the exact same information. It's just phrased in a way that those in music theory will understand a bit clearer. It's saying the same thing though. The first major triad chord in the scale, moving to the second major triad chord in the scale. And if those of you don't understand this, that's fine. This is the same information. It's just a way that those in music theory will appreciate. So hopefully this is helpful, and you'll be able to use this to come up with some musical emotions that you need for your scenes.